So I bought my vinyl wrap for my car like 6 or 7 months ago, and I have yet to put it on my car. And frankly, I'm tired of it sitting away, stored in my closet. So I'm giving myself the next 2 weeks to have my car wrapped, because if it's not done by then, it may never be. Oh baby, looking good this morning. So I had to park on the opposite side of my apartment complex because they are supposed to restripe the parking lot. Then it rained, so they didn't even end up doing it, which is why I had to walk all the way over here just to move my car so that I can work on it. Pretty annoying. I'm still not over this carbon fiber. Sheesh. So before we can jump into wrapping it, we have a little bit of work to do first because this car has accumulated several dents, chips, cracks, peeling paint, peeling clear coat, which all need to be dealt with before it can be wrapped. Otherwise it will show through the vinyl and it will look bad. So I was going to start out by trying to get rid of this dent in this fender because I wanted to start out with something easy, but I forgot that you have to remove the side skirt and unbolt the entire fender, and it's just a pain in the ass. So I'm not going to start out with that. I'm going to come back to that later. So I'm going to probably do something actually harder and try to scrape off all of this crappy paint on this hood. So this hood has definitely been repainted. I mean, you can obviously tell it's a different color than the rest of the car. I don't know who did it, but they did an absolutely terrible job. You can see the original paint underneath here, and I guess this is primer or something, and then this crappy top paint, and it all just peels off. Like this is a terrible job. So I'm going to try to peel off all of the paint. I'm probably not going to end up finishing it with this tiny little tool. I'm probably going to end up having to go get something else, but for now I'm going to get what I can done and just see how it looks. So I am officially giving up on this method because what I am using to scrape it off is just not working very well. As you can see, I've barely made any progress. Don't worry about that. So I brought the sand out here with the intention of sanding the complete hood down and going all the way through this crappy paint. But I ended up realizing that I could just smooth it out and blend it in, since all of the paint isn't really that bad. It was just pretty bad in certain spots where it was peeling up. So I went ahead and sanded down the entire hood and got it all pretty much smooth. And then I primed all of the places where I got down to bare metal. And then I went back over and sanded the primed spots. So now the hood is pretty much completely ready to be wrapped, besides having to remove the hood pins and sand underneath those. But other than that, the hood's ready to go. So moving on to the next thing. Since I already have the sander out here, I want to sand down all of this peeling clear coat that's all over the back here and get all of that smooth. That's not the only place that it's bad. As you can see, there are places around the car that have it peeling up, but it's mainly back here on the back. So I'm going to turn the car around and pull off these emblems and pull off the wing and start sanding down the back of it so I can get all of this nasty clear coat off and get it smooth, ready for the wrap. Here's some more, as you can see right there. It's pretty bad. So the wing slid down the hatch as it was open, and this was already broken, so I wasn't too concerned about that. But it popped this out, so I went ahead and pulled it off because we are going to be fixing these today as well. It's going to be a pain. Oh my god. Look, it's broken in like 3 or 4 different places. I'm scared to pull this out. I'm going to do it. Oh! Yeah, they broke. These have all been chipped and fixed before. Look at this. Wow. Sweet. So I went ahead and pulled off the A-pillars on both sides of the car because they are all broken up. As you can see, this is the driver's side one. It's in 2 completely different pieces, and the passenger side one is in 4 pieces. It's much worse. I would just replace them, but these things are like more than $600 a piece, and I can't swing that. So I'm gonna get some fiberglass and try to fiberglass the back side of them, and then throw some Bondo over the front side, sand them smooth, and hopefully they should be looking good as one solid piece. So I'm not completely done yet, but I gotta wait for all of this to dry before I can finish it up. So while we're waiting on the fiberglass to dry, I'm going to go ahead and remove the rest of the body kit, which is just the side skirts and the rear lip back here. You don't technically have to take them off, but it's gonna be a lot easier to sand them down to get ready for wrap if I go ahead and do take them off. Plus, I need to take off this passenger side skirt anyway to remove this fender because I have to get this dent out, and I need to get this fender off to get the dent out. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of them anyway. Now KBD has a proper way that you're supposed to prep their body kits for paint, but they don't have anything talking about wrap. And I didn't want to leave the body kit just how it came, so the idea was to get a good scuff all over the entire bumper as well as the side skirts and the rear lip so that the wrap has a better adhesion to the kit. So it is like day 3 of getting this car ready for wrap, and it has become a lot more work than I was anticipating. As you can see, I have just removed the fenders because they both need work. So the driver fender, if you remember, we've already gone through and sanded everything, but this part right here, I'm gonna add some Bondo on to get it smooth, and then once the Bondo's cure, sand it down and it'll be good to go. Now the passenger fender, on the other hand, doesn't need any Bondo, but it does have this massive dent, so I'm gonna try to get that out right now. Now I'm sure there's a proper way to do this, but I'm just gonna use this massive hammer because it seems like the easiest thing to do at the moment. Is it smart? Probably not. So as you can see, there are definitely still small dents here, but I think that's much better than the massive dent that was in it, and I'm obviously not going to spend hundreds of dollars just to get a small dent fixed on a drift car. Because if it wasn't already obvious to you guys, I'm not after perfection here. This is a drift car, and I'm not worried about all these small imperfections. It's gonna get dinged up, it's gonna get beat up, things are gonna get broken. I'm not worried about it. I just want it to look nicer than it does right now because it kind of looks like So this is my first time ever using Bondo, so there's a pretty high chance that I actually did it wrong, but I think we'll be fine. The fender, I think, actually came out pretty good considering how big of a hole that was there. It's pretty smooth to the touch now. No, it's obviously not perfect, and there's this little body line that is kind of off, but you know, it's not that big of a deal to me, so I'm not worried about it. The side skirts also came out really good. They are very smooth to an extent. Now what I did notice is I actually put way too much Bondo on all of the crack spots because I ended up sanding the majority of it down anyway. Right here there was a small pinhole that I filled in with some spot putty, so whenever that dries I'll go back through and I'll sand over that one little spot. As you can see, this one A-pillar also did break in another spot, so I'm gonna have to go back through and fiberglass and Bondo this one section as well. But once that's done, everything should be completed. I also sanded down the chipping paint on that fender and put some primer over the bare metal. As you can see, my backyard is absolutely cluttered with all my body panels, so I'm really hoping I can get the car wrapped in the next couple of weeks so I can get all of this stuff back on and out of my yard. I also just realized I forgot to sand down my wing. So besides sanding my wing and fixing up this last A-pillar, everything else on the car is completely ready for wrap. So if you guys want to see how this $300 wrap turns out, be sure to stay tuned because it might get interesting. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.